What's good, everyone? I'm IAnthonyD. Welcome back to another Texas Chain Saw Massacre video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the community's thoughts and opinions when it comes to the lobby situation in TCM. Recently, there was a community dev stream where they talked about the situation with the lobbies and what's going on with that. And Matt from Gun said this.
Lobbies and, more importantly, what's going on with the lobby situation. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. And I want to put some huge caveats on this. It's not the only thing we're facing, but currently the number one issue with lobbies is players dodging. And, I know that can be frustrating for the community to hear. And I know it feels like, well, I mean, come on, it can't just be that. And, I'm not saying that it is only that. The point that with bringing up the dodging situation, the dodging problem with lobbies is, that whole situation is kind of making it difficult for the team to unpack what else might be going on with lobbies. We've been hunting down the what's been referred to as a backfill issue. We've been trying to look into that kind of a thing for a long time now, going back to shortly after launch. And there were some changes that we made, and the problem with that investigation, though, is all of this lobby dodging stacked on top of it is making it difficult for us to try and see if there is anything going on, anything further going on, and if there is something going on, what that might be and how we can fix it. We need to make some kind of moves in order to limit the way lobby dodging is right now. And I think that if you've played this game for any amount of time, you've certainly heard if the other team has this family member, I'm dodging. If they have that victim, I'm dodging. If they're this rank, I'm dodging. If they're that rank, I'm dodging. If they're running this grandpa perk, I'm dodging. If it's that map, all of these reasons to dodge lobbies. And while we understand that players want to have that kind of control over the game mode they want to play, that is definitely impacting the situation with lobbies, both from a player experience standpoint and from the team, in terms of the team trying to investigate what might be going on. We need to get that under control. What that means and what that looks like, we'll have more news on that as we roll those things out. I'll talk a little bit more about some patch cadence things coming up, but expect us to be making some changes in terms of how lobbies function on the side of lobby dodging, because we really need to rein that in if we're going to be able to diagnose what's going on.
Now, it's not 100% clear here, but from my opinion, it does seem that maybe he might be hinting at some sort of either changes to lobbies or even possibly a penalty for dodging lobbies in the future. Now, this is not 100%. We don't know exactly what he means here, so take it all with a grain of salt. But the community has some thoughts about this, and I wanted to go over it. Now, when it comes to the lobby situation, there's been a huge amount of conversation about different features and changes that could be implemented to help fix the overall system. Now, there does appear to be an actual backfill, lobby system malfunction going on when it comes to getting new players and filling in these lobbies. So obviously that needs to be fixed, but are there other ways to help improve this overall lobby experience? I personally think so. Some of them have been map voting, hiding player levels, hiding perks, or just hiding family from the victims altogether. Different things like this have led to different conversations, and the community has some thoughts on it. Never ever add map voting. There are more victims than family, and they would always pick the most victim-sided map. Map voting would always favor victims, and family house would never ever get picked. Hiding player levels equals not knowing your teammates' level isn't a good idea. You have no idea if your teammates are good or if it's their first match. Hiding teams in lobby, not a bad idea, but as long as Danny and Virginia pay-to-win characters exist, family has the right to dodge them. Who cares if you know if your teammates are good or if it's their first match? It's just a game. You're not playing professionally. Just add penalties. Let's get rid of the lobby dodgers. They have gotten rid of thousands of players. Some dodgers will say the game will die out, but it will just be fine because they are the small minority and because they love dodging. I would be happy to see people that leave the lobby have a wait 5 minutes before they can begin to look again. And if they dodge again during that session, they wait 10 minutes and so on. If that means these people won't play anymore, I think it would be an enormous benefit for the community. I'd be fine with penalties, only if my party doesn't disband while searching for a lobby. I've had to leave lobbies because my buddy isn't in the same lobby as me. So what's their plan if I leave a lobby because me and my buddy aren't together? Would I get penalized for having to leave so I can re-party up with my buddy? They should just rebuild lobbies at this point. I'm not a developer, but I was shocked to hear that Matt says that they don't see any issues under the hood. Yeah, players dodging for sure affects the lobby. but every single time a victim leaves, the spot fills in less than a minute. If they can't pinpoint where the problem lies, maybe it's time to bite the bullet and start new. This aspect is the most off-putting part of this entire game, and I know the community agrees it should be priority number one, and by any means necessary. It cannot stay this way if they want longevity for this game. Now, when you bring up map voting, there would obviously have to be some sort of system implemented where the victim vote is equal to the family vote, with there being 3v4. And then when you bring up things like penalties, there has to be a lot of different situations that don't affect it, because like this person point out, there are tons of already bugs or different little situations that happen that force you to leave a lobby. So implementing any form of penalty can be definitely hard, because you have to find a way to not penalize actual good faith players versus people who are just dodging constantly for any reason. Now, when it comes to my personal opinion on all of this, I will say that the lobbies need to be number one priority. When it comes to overpowered characters, game-breaking bugs, all of that doesn't matter if you can't play the game to begin with. Now, when it comes to things like map voting, I'm also okay with that. Instead of like an actual map voting, I think you could do it as a vote to skip. You load into a lobby and the first map that you see is gas station. Players could then vote to skip and it would randomize to a next map, and that's the one that you would have to play on. I think something like that would be fine and could work. Now, when it comes to penalties, this is something that I personally don't like at all. In a game where you cannot pick the character that you want to play, there is always going to be some sort of lobby dodging. Even if the game was absolutely perfect, if all the characters were absolutely perfect, if you can't load in 100% of the time as the character you want to play, people are going to leave. They need to prioritize getting people in and out of lobbies that they're comfortable with as fast as possible, rather than punishing players who leave. But I understand both sides of the argument, because lobby dodging is extremely frustrating to deal with. And then when it comes to things like hiding player levels or hiding the family from the victims to begin with, I'm actually okay with that anyways. I think it would build more in the horror aspect of this game if you were escaping from the basement, not knowing which family members you were actually going with. Now, a lot of these things does take away from like your pre-game strategy, which I guess I'm okay with as well. It's similar to like Dead by Daylight. If you ever bring like balanced landing and you're hoping for a map that perk could actually work for, and yeah, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. I think of games like Evil Dead and Dead by Daylight both do this, so it's not that crazy of an idea. But as always, I want to know what you think down below. Comment down below what's your thoughts on the lobby situation, what's your thoughts on what Matt had to say, or even adding these different features like map voting, hiding player levels, all that kind of stuff, penalties for leaving the game or lobby dodging. Comment down below, let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to slash that like button. If you like what I do here and you want to support, become a member of Slash Game for as low as $1 per month. We do have a fun Texas Chain Saw Massacre series on the channel called Meet the Slaughters. A lot of fun moments in the world of Texas. I hope to see you over there. I don't want this, dude. I got old woman strength. I'll hurt you, bro. I'll hurt you. Where's your shirt at? Where's your shirt at, dude? Where your shirt at? You oil up? Is that oil? Until then, remember the rules to survive. Don't do drugs, don't have sex, and oh yeah, don't die.